Okay, good evening and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube. Iyun. Tonight we're learning Maseches Eiruvin, Perek Vav, Mishnah's, Perek Zion, Mishnah Vav and Zion, Perek Zion, Mishnah Vav and Zion. I want to talk about Mishnah Vav tonight. Mishnah Vav talks about um, the person who's doing Shitufim Abuos, right? You want to join all the people on your block together to own something, a common ownership over a barrel of wine or something like that, to show that you're biyachad, you're one street. It's only the rishus of one. It's not a rishus of Rabbim, it's rishus of Yachid. So therefore, I can carry. The Rabbanan won't worry from carrying from your house to your chutzner or to the public street, because the street is not a rishus of Rabbim. But since a lot of people use it, so therefore, Chazal were concerned people will be confused with the rishus of Rabbim and come to carry from rishus of Yachid to rishus of Rabbim. So therefore, Chazal said, join together in something. Make it like you have joint ownership over the street together. It's only Rosh Hashanah. Now, technically, everyone has to own something together, a barrel of wine. So usually there's one person who's very machbid on the halacha, and most people don't even know about Shitufim Abuos or Chazeros going on. But usually in the building or on the block, there's one person who knows what they're doing. And the reason people don't know about it is this Mishnah, because they don't have to go over to you and tell you or ask you for a donation or tell me, or even tell you that I'm taking from my barrel, I'm giving to you a portion to it, or I'm giving you a right to take from my barrel, because there's a concept of zachan adam shel, which is clear from this Mishnah, that I can acquire something for somebody else, right, even without their knowledge, because we assume people want to have more assets and more rights to use things. So by giving them a portion of my barrel, I don't need to ask them. Of course they want that. So the Mishnah says which people you could use to do zachan adam shel. You can't transfer I can't go to my barrel and pick up my barrel and say, I'm giving this to somebody else, right? You have to have someone do it as a shliach for them. Someone else, because otherwise it's like giving from my one hand to another hand, my two hands, I'm not doing anything. But if I give it to my son who's over a bar mitzvah, or if I give it to my Eved Ivri or something like that, who I don't own completely, I don't own my son completely, I don't own their wages. The wages of my son belong to him if he's over bar mitzvah, right? Eved Ivri also, their wages belong to him. So I could give it to them on behalf of somebody else. That's zachan adam shel. Now, what about your wife? Right? The Mishnah says you can't use minor children, or you can't use avadim knainim, because those, you own their wages. So it's like giving from one hand to the other hand. What about your wife? So the Mishnah here says you can use your wife to be zachan adam shel by shitufim avos. So it works. However, there's a brisa, I believe is quoted in Maseches Nedarim, which says it doesn't work. So how do you resolve these two? So the Gemara, I believe in Maseches Nedarim, says that one place is talking about Shitufim Abuos, and one place is talking about Eiruvin Chatzeros, right? This Mishnah is clearly talking about Shitufim Abuos. By Shitufim Abuos, right, we know it's not dafka. Eiruvin Chatzeros has to be specifically bread. We're going to learn about that. It has to be specifically bread you have to join together. They're very similar, Eiruvin Chatzeros. Eiruvin Chatzeros, you're joining together to use the Chatzer, to make the Chatzer a Rosh Yachid. It is a Rosh Yachid technically, but you want to make it like it's only owned by one person, so you join together to commonly own something. And Shitufim Abuos is not the yard, but it's in front of the yard, the street. A common street, a side street. So you want to join together in the street to make it Shus Yachid. So for Shitufim Avuos, you're just joining together in a barrel of wine. Eiruvin Chatzeros, you want to join together in a loaf of bread or something like that. So the difference between Eiruvin Chatzeros and Shitufim Avuos is that Shitufim Avuos, it's good enough just, the concept of Eiruvin Chatzeros, I explained before, Eiruvin Chatzeros, you want to be comfortable. You want to feel comfortable eating a meal together. So the people that own the bread together, each one really has to have an ownership. It's not good enough to just have a right? A right to, sometimes when you go to someone's house, right? Someone invites me to their house, I sit down at the table, I don't have to ask the Baal Bayis, can I take a piece of meat? Can I take a drink, right? That's a right that he gives me, right? I have a right because he invited me to his house. We assume he gave me rights to take from his food. I don't have ownership of his food. I can't take his food and go bring it back to my house without asking him, but I could take whatever I want while I'm there. That's called a right? It's called zechia, zchus, based in, right? And based in, they got psak din that you have a right to a certain person's money. It doesn't mean you own his estate. You have a right to garnish his wages, a right to freeze his bank account. I have a right to collect his money, right? They can never give you someone's possession. Maybe there's a concept of hefker based in hefker. Maybe Chazal have a way of taking someone's assets and repossessing them and giving to somebody else. But usually, a zchus, when you win in Beis Din, monetarily, in a civil Beis Din, civil court, it just gives you the right to take his money, to garnish his wages, to freeze his bank account. So it gives you a right to collect the money. And shidduch mabus, all you need is a right, because shidduch mabus is through wine. It's not. It's a matter of joining together, of each person having the right. So therefore, you can use your wife for zachal and shalafana, because a wife is a little complicated. It's not exactly like an Evan Knaini, right? It's not that you own her wages. You have a right to her wages, right? You don't. The Maaseh Yadayim of a woman, right? Because I give her mizonos, because I feed her, so therefore Chazal said her Maaseh Yadayim belong to me, whatever her wages are. If I were not to give her mizonos, so she's entitled to keep her wages herself. So it's dependent on whether I'm giving her mazonas or not. So I have a right, because I have the right to say, I'm giving you mazonas. If I give her mazonas, I get her wages. She doesn't have a way out, right? It's my clothes in the Gemara whether she will. I don't know. We paskin. Practically, she doesn't have a way out. So therefore, I have a right to her wages. Therefore, when it comes to shtuvim avos, it's about having a right, right? It's not about everyone feeling comfortable eating a bread meal together. Every chatzeros in a chatzer is a private area. You eat a meal there together. But a street is not a public place where you can sit down to eat a meal. So therefore, shidduchim avos, all Chazal instituted is that everyone has a right to the barrel. You just have a monetary right to the barrel. So therefore, you use your wife, because your wife has her own rights, right? Her wife has her own rights. However, when it comes to Eiruvin chatzeros, right? When it comes to joining together in the chatzer, so you can't use your wife over there, right? Because the wife, your wife, you have to give ownership to the other person. It's bread. You have to give ownership to the other person. They should feel comfortable eating together in a chatzer. You have to have rights to eat that bread, not just rights. You have the ownership over that bread. So when it comes to Eiruvin chatzeros, you can't use your wife to do zechiyah zachal adam shalom b'fanav, because at the end of the day, a wife, whatever masha kana ishto kana baila, right? Whatever a wife acquires technically belongs to her husband, right? She has her own rights. She has her own rights, right? For if she gets mazonos, she gives Maaseh Yadayim to him. It's an agreement. It's an agreement. So she technically, her ownership over things, right, is similar to an Evet Knaini or to a minor that belongs to the husband. Evet Knaini belongs to the Rab, to his master. But in terms of having a rights, right, she has a way of. I'm taking it back for a second. I hope you heard the beginning of this year. I'm going back on what I said before. It's actually machlokas in the Gemara whether she has a right to get out of it, and I think the Gemara actually says the opposite, that if she wants, she can keep her wages. There's a way of her keeping it. Technically, if she doesn't do anything, the husband gives her mazonos like he's supposed to, her wages go to the husband. But Rav Huna, I believe, says in various places, Maseches Ksuvos, a couple of places, that a woman can say to her husband, "Eini nizonos ve'eini osa," right? I won't take nourishment. I won't take my mazonos. I don't need. You don't have to give me food, and whatever wages I earn will belong to me. So she has a way out, right? An Evan Knaini or a minor never could say, okay, if I decide not to get mazonos from you, so then for my father or for my master, so then I'll keep my wages myself. They can't do that. But a wife does have that right. A wife has a way out. She has a way out. So she, even though her ownership doesn't belong to her, and therefore Erev Chatzeros, where you need to own the thing, you can't do Alidei Ishto. When it comes to Shidduchim Abuos, which is about rights, right? She has a right over here because she can get out. She can break from this idea that she has to give whatever she owns to her husband, because if she says, technically, I'm not going to get fed from my husband is obligated to do from the Torah, Sheira, she can still break from that. She can say, okay, I won't get fed, I'll keep my wages myself. So she has rights. She has a monetary right. She doesn't have ownership. Presently, she doesn't have ownership, but she has a right. So therefore, when it comes to Shidduchim Abuos, which is about having rights, right? A monetary right, and that's all you have to have. Zachin is the rights to take from the barrel of wine. So therefore, she could help and mizakeh for other people by Shidduchim Abuos. That's, I think, the clear distinction. Hope you enjoyed tonight's share. See you in the next one.